Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, June 11, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Right now, the Master is fast asleep. And the mind, the servant, is playing the role of Master. And the servant is created by the outside world. It follows the outside world and its laws. Once your awareness becomes a flame, it burns up the whole slavery that the mind has created. There is no blissfulness more precious than freedom, than being a master of your own destiny. Osho. Now, when it comes down to life-mind mastery within the great mystery, it is all about discovering the source of pure awareness inside. This is that simple, obvious awareness that is always watching, listening, and experiencing everything in your life at all the time. It is the light behind the movie screen of your mind. It's responsible for projecting the entire picture onto everything that you feel, sense, and see. It is responsible for shining the light on every single thought and feeling that you have about anything. It's always the source of what your experience is in every moment of your existence. We don't give awareness enough credit. We rarely recognize that it's there. And hardly ever take the time to sit down with it and relax into the source of it. The reason we take awareness for granted is because it is ever present, always here now, just like the air you're breathing. Yet think about it. What if awareness wasn't present anymore? What would happen to your life? Who would you be without awareness? Who would exist if there were nobody to be aware of your existence anymore? Sure, these are some deep thoughts to contemplate. Yet, when we do take the time to explore them, something magical happens. We start becoming more in touch with this divine state of awareness. Whatever we focus on is what we experience more of. And eventually manifests into physical action and form. Whatever we meditate on results in who we are going to become tonight and tomorrow morning. As we become more aware of the infinite spiritual source of awareness inside, we become more connected with what's totally in charge of what we are magnetizing. We can see each thought fly by and see exactly how each one is attracting, creating, and designing how our entire lives unfold and manifest. It is only when we become conscious of this perfect divine play manifesting inside us and all around us that we stop fighting ourselves, each other, and beating our heads against our inner emotional prison walls. When we stop pushing up against light and start appreciating that everything is an aspect of the great sacred mystery, we start resonating at a higher level of consciousness. We begin feeling more expansive when we wake up in the morning and greet the day with a childlike curiosity, creativity, and wonder. We do this because at the source of pure awareness it's easy to realize there truly are no actual prisons in this infinite quantum field of intelligent energy. Prisons are only limiting aspects of our highly creative imagination. If you name me, you negate me, Kierkegaard. If you name me, you negate me. On a karmic level, every person has a unique inner emotional prison, and this is part of their unique soul's destiny. Every human came here to release the lie their soul was fed. They came to re-experience the feelings of being confused, rejected, abandoned, hated, suppressed, depressed, and stuck in order to transcend them all. We needed to step harder on thorn hiding in our shoe in order to stop hiking up this great mountain and remove it with love. At some point, every day, we each run into some feeling of being stuck, blocked, or challenged by something or someone. We feel limited, small, powerless, and suppressed from all of our full expression. Every human mind already has the program installed to throw itself into some emotional dumpster repeatedly. There are many little thorns hiding in our shoes that we are unaware of. Thus, something terrible happens in the outer world. We get dumped by a lover. We end up trashing our self-esteem, our love for life, our feeling of being empowered, and falling into some treacherous feeling of being locked up in an emotional prison we cannot escape from. All of this thorny karma we carry may sound terribly depressing, yet it's good to remember that this universe is more loving, mysterious, and intelligent than we could ever imagine. There is a very beautiful yet unobvious reason why this divinely intelligent, deeply eternal loving universe has set life up to throw each and every one of us through experiences of emotional pain, agony, and suffering. The reason is so that we stop everything we are doing and become deeply inspired to evolve in a spiritual dimension. The spiritual path is the only way we can remove all our thorns and break out of our thick mental and emotional prisons. The only problem is that the mind tends to get lazy and wrapped up in old habits and would never search for the keys to our spiritual freedom unless we felt deeply trapped, imprisoned, or stuck. Unless we felt deeply trapped, imprisoned, or stuck. The mind loves to create these emotional prison cells in the brain, as each one provides new fuel to blast off into a new experience of creativity, growth, evolution, movement, and eventually reach total liberation. So we all have these wonderfully perfect, prickly prisons constructed inside us. Each one is destined to create a deep yearning and desire to be free. You can reject this idea, ignore it, or accept it. Just notice what happens inside your body, either way. This search for freedom is as much our destiny as the prisons we've placed ourselves in. There are no real enemies in this world. There are only imaginary shadows. The thorns in our shoes can be removed once we realize that they are also created by our own imagination. We must move beyond the mind, through the unconscious, righteous mind that believes it is aware, yet is truly ignorant and not worshiping the great mystery 24 hours a day. It is this ignorance that is our only real enemy. The mind that is deeply stuck in thought, an ego, and will only strive to create something new when some form of horrific pain, fear, or slavery begins bubbling up inside. The mind is imagining everything that you're experiencing right now. It is believing that your thoughts, beliefs, and all your limitations are real. It is entertaining the feeling that being financially stuck is real, or that your relationships are never going to improve, or you'll always live in the same house forever. It has this idea that whatever challenging life experience you're having right now just may be that way forever. These sensations of emotional imprisonment sure do feel real. Yet when we step back from them, we see they are just a conglomeration of negative thoughts. When we step back from the mind with awareness, we can understand that we are the ones who have thrown ourselves into jail with our imagination. From this awareness, then we can step out of jail just with using our sweet, simple, yet all-powerful imagination. One who knows the self has nothing more to do, nor has he any more thoughts from then on. The infinite power will carry out all further actions that may be necessary for him. Ramana Maurice. To acquire a get out of jail pass, we must give it to ourselves. We must choose to accept that everything and everyone in this life is a part of this deep, sweet, holographic, infinite mystery. In this acceptance, we stop feeling limited. We see how our imagination is co-creating everything, designing this entire thing we deem as reality. Then and only then can we understand what it takes to be free. By knowing what is creating thought, we stop believing in all of its fantasies. We realize that any potential feeling of slavery is a choice from here on out. We understand that we always have the free will and choice and how we wish to interact and engage with any thought that enters the mind, and can keep it like a winning lottery ticket, or toss it away like a used banana peel. So my invitation right now for you is to not hold on to any beliefs that show up about yourself, others, and this life. Do not hold on to any beliefs that show up about yourself, others, and this life. Choose the mystery over certainty. Just because it's more exciting. It's simply more interesting to not know than to know. When you're living within the mystery 24 hours a day, you suddenly find yourself becoming spontaneous, free from hesitation, doubt, barely have any fear. It requires all the courage you have to keep choosing the mystery over the normal way of being human. Yet, you're much more likely to experience your fears as some weird, bubbling state of excitement that's something you run from. You might even see your life as this wild, passionate birthing of random desires to engage and disengage from. Ultimately, it is a mystery how long or short your life is going to last. So why not start embracing it now? Right now. When we embrace the mystery as a way of living life, the mysterious way keeps us truly alive. We start abiding in a state of wonder and deep curiosity about everything. We stop defining who we are and start realizing that truly we are actually indefinable. We start seeing amazing, intelligent energy is here, now, directly in front of your eyes. It's like all of us, we've been wiped clean of past lives, everything. Just erased. And we come here to unerase through discovery. Now, obviously, the majority of us, one lifetime, next, we don't find out, we don't discover. And each time we have no memory. So doesn't it make sense to start re-educating ourselves? And then we hit on certain areas, and it motivates awareness. In other words, you remember things, not just from this life, but other lives, other lifetimes. And most of us will spend our whole life, however long or short it is, being a slave to the mind. Learning to be is very tough for many. Learning to be in meditation is really tough for many people. Learning to be who and what you are. What would happen on this planet if we all went to sleep and we woke up and we didn't remember, none of us did, what our names were? Who are we? What do we do? After a while, it would make a difference. Everybody would have no name. And so if you wanted to greet someone, you should say, hi. How are you today? I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it is really. When we come into these bodies, we don't have really names. We don't know who and what we are. We really don't know anything. How would that be when you wake up and you don't remember who you are? People say, well, that's describing amnesia. This is what happened to us. We were in a much higher dimensional frequency. But we were curious. And we thought it would be fun. So we enter body after body after body after body. And each time, no memory, no memory, no memory, no memory, no memory. So this is how precious this life that we're in right now is. Absolutely priceless. So we experience a physical form. We exist through life. But some of us get really, really curious about who and what we are. And what is that? What can you honestly say to yourself of who and what you are? I am the God within the soul, within the body, pure consciousness. I am that I am. But nobody has a name. The names that are given to you are not you. Your personality, your character, is not you. And since we have been hallucinating so long with these bodies, we believe we're the body. So the rest, the questions that we have, it's answered. What is it? You met somebody, right? And you said, what's your name? And they said to you, I have no name. How would you respond? Well, you'd probably say, you're joking me, right? You've got to have a name. We all have names. You're telling me you have no name. That's exactly right. I have no name. But we're used to that. Look at throughout this so-called history that we've been given. Names, 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 names. Names are labels. We're all God. And we're gods in these bodies. The God is within the soul. And believe it or not, but after a period of time, right? It's because none of us know what a name is at this stage, see? We don't know because everything's been wiped away. So we don't know if anybody ever, we don't even know the word name, okay? So we operate as one, which means that we are unified. And so how would you greet somebody? Say hi, or bow to them, bowing to the God that's within them. But these are things that we will discover as a people, a civilization, as gods in the body. That this civilization is a label fanatic. Everything's got to have a name. Now, those of us who know, okay, we have the human psyche, which is what? The society. So you are contemplating saying, what would happen right in this now? You said, what would happen if I didn't have a name? Think about that now, right? This is where people become fearful and scared and worried and stressed and anxiety filled. If you didn't have a name, you couldn't do anything in this society, right? Because you have to have a name to do what? To do anything. You've got to be identified. The name is an identifier of each one of us. You go in and you want to get some documentation, and they say to you, who should we address this to? And you don't have a name. So you could say, no name, which is also a label of a name. We are goaded into, through the psyche, the human psyche, which is the society, we're goaded into conforming and being enslaved through the mind on so many things. So many. Someone walks into your town and they say to you, I'm your new leader. Okay? And you don't question it. You say, oh, fine. So how are you going to lead us? This happens all across this planet. So the being curious about it is saying, what the heck is all this about? So we come here so that we have an opportunity to remember who and what we are. And it depends how long it takes us. And to not get distracted, which is very difficult to not get distracted. Imagine that. This entire civilization, way over 8 billion, is sitting there saying, what the heck are we here for? What are we doing here? Where did we come from? Isn't that amazing? But where did we come from? We don't know. Who are we? We don't know. And generation after generation after generation, same thing. But we're in this mind-contrived existence that dictates to us, you got to have a name. Because you've got this infrastructure, right? Which is social, society, put it together. Well, where should I send this? And you say you don't have an address. You could say the woods, or near the water, or the desert. Would it get to you? No. Everything on this planet is based upon labels. Everything is a label. You can't just say car because there's just different labels for different varieties of cars. You see how confusing it can become to any of us? So we're molded and shaped like a herd of cattle to follow the leaders. Even if the leaders aren't really leaders at all. A leader for the people is one who cares for the people deeply and knows that they are a servant to the people. And their function is to protect the people and to educate the people so that eventually they can govern themselves. So we have kind of like the roots that we've discovered, that we begin to realize that we're not the body. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Now, to a lot of the sleepers, you would say that too, and of course they would think you were off your rocker. But who cares what other people think? So, can this be shifted? And how long does it take? Those two questions are up to each and every one of us. How much time do you feel you should immerse yourself in this? Where do you think we got the idea that we're powerless beings? Where did that come from? That's the unknown. That's being curious, say, and contemplating. Where in the heck did that come from? That all of us are powerless beings, which is not true at all, by far. We are super powerful beings in these bodies. It's a real slick trick that one can program the mind to believe that it's inferior, so therefore you're inferior. Self-awareness is imperative, but a lot of the things that this society, the human psyche, has put into play through generations is very disjointed. So can we rewrite the human psyche? Sure. It'll take a few decades, but sure. And it all boils down to one thing. Experience, knowledge. Let's say you come to a planet and you really don't know where you came from. You're just on this planet, okay? And everything on this planet is completely foreign. So what do? You do a couple things. You can order pizza and eat. Okay? Or you can look around you in the restaurant and eatery and say, okay, what are most of the people in here, what are they ordering? What are they eating? Right? And you'd watch them eat it. And you say, well, this seems to be the most popular food, so that's what I will get. You would watch the civilization, right, do what it does, and then learn from what it does how you will operate on the planet. Quite intriguing, isn't it? And it's all connected to our minds. We look at we kind of go, what you see in this very moment isn't real. And we know that. Well, then where did it come from? I could go out and touch it, smell it, feel it, taste it. You're telling me it's an illusion. Yes, a really good one. The mind can create things that we would swear are real. But see, again, this is the curiosity that we all have, this curiosity of knowing and contemplating these things. And how many times has the question been posed, right? Where do I go from here? In other words, when you leave the body, where do you go from there? No one knows. Well, they have the engineered version, right? Where they leave the body and then they cross over to the other side. And so what's the other side? A huge illusion. A huge illusion. Huge illusion. Now let's say, okay, that you have discovered. You've discovered who and what you are. Now, you haven't ran around and told people. It's just about you, right? So you meditate. You go within. You are in total silence. And you just be. You focus on your breath. You focus on being in the now as much as possible. You stay in deep, eternal gratitude. And you're gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Interesting, isn't it, how that... And you emphatically know that you're not the body. That you emphatically know that you are the God within that body, who is omnipotently powerful, immortal, never dies, and massively expansive. Now, what would happen? What would happen? And you knew that when, okay, so you're leaving the body. You're good with it. You're good with it. You're not in fear. Okay, it's anticipation of the unknown. Okay? But you know who and what you are, so it's not really a difficult transition for you. Now, obviously, you don't remember what it's like to be fully aware outside the body. You know you're the light. You know you're pure consciousness. So what happens with that? Well, it's pretty much automatic. You're out of the body and you're looking around. Okay? You have no remorse. You didn't, like a lot of us will have remorse when we leave the body because we wasted so much time. I don't believe it's a waste of time. I believe that you're always in being. Just being, is that a waste of time? No. But see, it's interpreted in our society, our human psychic, the social structure of the planet. You've always got to be doing something. You've always got to be doing this or doing something or doing. You've always got to be occupied. You've got to keep yourself occupied. You can't just not do anything. That's not good. Okay? And that's the mind. Control over us. Dictating that to us. So you know that as enticing as it may seem that you're out of body and you're being approached by the light. Okay? By the light. What light? You know that you're the light. You don't even have a question about it. You are the light. So And that's what you learned in physical form here, inside of physical form, where you knew that you are the light. So this light that's coming after you, and you're going, why would I go into that light? I am the light. And you say to the light, I am the light. What are you? Okay? And this is one of a surefire way to dispel that light from nabbing you. But see, when you can count on one hand how many of us have eliminated the light coming after us. Why is that? Because so many of us, when it gets down to it, and we're getting ready to leave the body, we're scared to death, frightened out of our wits. We've been so connected to the physical material life that when it's getting time to leave the body, you're scared to death. Yeah, it's interesting. My oldest brother, Kirk, he was in 101st Airborne. He was supposed to go with some of the first troops to Vietnam. He was a parachuter, parajumper. He was in training, and they have towers they use. Towers about 500 feet up. And they get on these towers, and the towers are strategically placed. And they jump off the towers, and they deploy their chutes. Well, as he was doing this, and he deployed a chute, someone passed over him, stole his air, and he dropped 500 feet, just about 500 feet, right to the ground. In other words, you ever seen that? Parachute just completely collapses, and you're free air. You just shoot right down to the ground. And he broke his femur. He was in contraction for 6 months. And his military career was over. And he never forgave himself. Isn't this crazy? He never forgave himself that he wasn't there with his men, which was a death sentence to go to Vietnam. He wasn't there with his men. So he felt guilty his whole life that he never got to go with his group to Vietnam to fight. So he has lifetime disability. And then years and years later, the family comes into the room, and he had prostate cancer. He beat it once, and then it came back. And I said to him, we'll see you around. He goes, oh, I don't know about that. This is really scary. And I looked at his eyes. He was frightened, completely out of his wits of leaving the body. Frightened. And interestingly enough, that's why a lot of us will go into heavy sedation where we're totally out of it and partially out of the body. So we really aren't frightened, so to speak, because we're so anesthetized. Well, he wasn't. And he didn't know who and what he was. Period. Not even inkling. So when you see this, not as judgment, but you begin to recognize this where you go, wow, the majority of us don't know that. Really, truly. We can say it till we're blue in the face, but to really know it and feel it of who and what you really are, there are not many people. Period. I don't care what anybody says. There just isn't. If there were, we wouldn't be having any of the issues that we're having on this planet at this time. So these are the things that we can focus our attention on. Like names, belongings, social status. So many things that control us, manipulate us, guide us, direct us, because we are not free, because most of us, just about, or not, I would say the majority of us, are always worried about what other people think about us. We always are. You know how you test it? How many times have you wanted to go outside your comfort zone? And you've always dreamt about, decking yourself out and going out in public and that type of thing, but you never did it. Yeah, why was it? Because you were so petrified on how you would think people would respond to you. Okay. So what does that do? It stops you. But you should try it sometime and break through that barrier that you created for yourself anyway, and see how that liberation feels. And when you start to do that, then you begin to realize, because there are people that do that, and they really don't care what people think. Because it boils down to, it's all about you. Discovering all this for yourself so that you know who and what you are, and that you become free, completely liberated. You don't follow the infrastructure of this planet. You don't do it. It's comforting. It really is. And then you discover that it's discomforting, and you no longer do it. You're not a troublemaker. You're just following the beat of your drum, not everybody else's. You're not trying to be special or different or out of the ordinary. You are just enjoying your life. And so many of us are so reserved and withdrawn. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, no, I wouldn't do that. What would people think of me if I did that? And this is what we do. We all do it. None of us are exempt from it through this life, and probably most of the other lives that we have spent. So it's kind of like, let it go. You ever seen somebody, might be at a concert or something, or they're just so into the music that they have no idea what's going on around them? They immerse themselves in it. You ever seen that? Maybe it's you. Or you go into nature and you lose yourself. You don't have any reserved thoughts of, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I don't have the time. No, I should be doing this over here. Or you feel guilty. I'd love to sit here on this bench and just enjoy nature, but I got things to do. And then you stop yourself and say, no, I'm going to sit here and enjoy nature as long as I choose. So we have come here to discover all of this for ourselves. Because when you love yourself truly, deeply, eternally, and you have total faith, confidence, and trust in yourself and the universe, and you really don't care what other people think about you, then you're truly free. Then you've mastered the ego mind. You'll know that, see. You'll have mastered the ego mind. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Remain still. If you go looking in every planet and galaxy in this entire universe of creation, you'll find that there is nobody out there who is exactly like you. You are very special. You are truly incredible. Everything about you is so unique and absolutely perfect as it is. I'm not making this up. Just go talk with any scientist. There is nobody exactly like you in this entire universe. Okay. So can you sit back right now and simply feel how special you are? This is your new daily sacred practice of simply being your most natural, beautiful self without any effort at all. The most sacred path in this life is always the most natural one. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. And we'll return here Monday, June 12, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be in the highest, the kindest, gentleness, caring, humble, generous to yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude with yourself at all times. Doesn't matter what's going on outside of you. No matter what is. Stay in that energy and watch what happens.